Your doctor may have told you that once your nerves are damaged, they cannot heal. But a landmark study published in Diabetes Care is forcing the medical community to rethink everything. Because right now, sitting in your kitchen or your local grocery store, there is a bright orange spice that has been shown in clinical trials to reduce nerve pain, improve nerve conduction, and in some cases, actually reverse the damage. Stay with me for the next 15 minutes, because what I am about to show you could change how you manage neuropathy forever. We are talking about 3 specific compounds: turmeric, curcumin, alpha-lipoic acid, and B vitamins, and I am going to give you the clinical evidence, the exact dosages, and a critical safety warning you absolutely need to hear before you start anything. If you have tingling, burning, or numbness in your feet or hands right now, this video is for you. Let us start by talking about what neuropathy actually does inside your body. Because most people understand the symptoms, the burning, the tingling, the pins and needles at 2 a.m. that keep you awake. But very few people understand the mechanism. And when you understand the mechanism, the solution starts to make complete sense. Peripheral neuropathy is damage to the peripheral nerves, the nerves that carry signals between your brain, your spinal cord, and every single part of your body. Your feet, your hands, your organs. These nerves are not just wires. They are living structures wrapped in a protective coating called the myelin sheath. Think of it like the rubber insulation around an electrical cable. When that insulation degrades, signals get scrambled. They misfire. They short out entirely. And the most common cause of that degradation is chronically high blood sugar. Here is what happens at the cellular level. When blood glucose stays elevated over time, it triggers a cascade of oxidative stress. Free radicals flood the system. These unstable molecules attack nerve membranes. They disrupt the mitochondria inside neurons, the little energy factories that keep nerve cells alive and functioning. And they reduce nitric oxide availability in the tiny blood vessels that feed the nerves. The nerves literally starve. The myelin sheath thins and breaks down. And once the insulation is gone, you feel it. First as mild tingling in the toes and fingers, then burning pain that feels like your feet are on fire even though they are ice cold to the touch. Then electric shock sensations. Then, eventually, the loss of sensation entirely. And that last stage is where it gets truly dangerous. Approximately 50% of people with type 2 diabetes will develop peripheral neuropathy over their lifetime. 50%. That is not a rare complication. That is nearly a coin flip. And for many of those people, the neuropathy progresses silently. They stop feeling pain in their feet. They develop a small wound they cannot feel. That wound gets infected, and in the most severe cases, that leads to amputation. This is not just discomfort. People lose sleep for years. They stop walking because the pain or the instability is too great. Their quality of life collapses. And then they go to their doctor and they are handed a prescription for gabapentin, pregabalin, or duloxetine. These are the standard of care medications for neuropathic pain. They work, to a degree, for some people. But here's what they do not do. They do not address the oxidative stress destroying the nerves. They do not rebuild the myelin sheath. They do not improve nerve conduction velocity. They manage the symptom while the underlying damage continues. That gap in treatment is exactly what we are addressing today. So here is the frustrating reality that most patients with neuropathy face. Their doctor tells them to better control their blood sugar, which is absolutely correct and essential, but improved blood sugar control slows the progression of damage. It does not reverse damage that has already occurred. The nerves that have already lost myelin do not automatically rebuild just because glucose levels normalize. And that leaves millions of people stuck. Their numbers improve on paper, but the burning in their feet at night does not stop. The balance problems do not resolve. The numbness does not lift. And they are told, essentially, that this is just how it is now, that they need to manage it, accept it, live with it getting worse year by year. But what if we could directly target oxidative stress? What if we could reduce the neuroinflammation that is accelerating the damage, provide the cellular antioxidant protection that nerve mitochondria desperately need, and supply the actual structural building blocks that nerves require to repair themselves all at the same time? That is not a hypothetical question. That is exactly what the research on this 3-compound protocol suggests is possible. And I'm going to walk you through each compound, one by one, with the science behind each one. So what actually works? Let us get into it. Compound number 1 is turmeric, or more specifically, its active polyphenol compound called curcumin. Curcumin is responsible for that vivid yellow-orange color, and it is responsible for the vast majority of turmeric's therapeutic effects. And when it comes to neuropathy, curcumin works through three distinct mechanisms that are directly relevant to nerve damage. First, curcumin is a powerful inhibitor of something called NF-κB. NF-κB is essentially the master switch for inflammatory gene expression in your body. When it is activated chronically, which it is in the setting of high blood sugar and oxidative stress, it drives continuous, low-grade neuroinflammation that accelerates the destruction of nerve tissue. Curcumin blocks this pathway. It turns down the inflammatory fire that is burning through your nerve fibers. Second, curcumin acts as both a direct antioxidant and an upregulator of your body's own antioxidant enzyme systems, including superoxide dismutase and glutathione peroxidase. These are your body's internal defense mechanisms against free radical damage. Curcumin does not just neutralize free radicals itself, it helps your body produce more of its own neutralizers. Third, and this is where the emerging research gets particularly exciting, curcumin appears to support the expression of neurotrophic factors, the proteins that nerves need in order to grow and repair themselves. Animal model studies and early human pilot data have shown curcumin reducing neuropathic pain scores and improving nerve function markers. The research is still building, but the mechanistic logic is solid and supported by multiple lines of evidence. Now, here is the bioavailability problem that most people miss entirely, and I promised I would come back to this, so here it is. Standard turmeric powder that you sprinkle on your food has extremely poor absorption. Most of the curcumin passes straight through your digestive tract without entering your bloodstream in meaningful concentrations. Therapeutic blood levels simply cannot be achieved through culinary use of the spice alone. The solutions are specific. Number 1, take curcumin with black pepper. Black pepper contains piperine, a compound that has been shown to increase curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. That is not a typo, 2,000%. Many quality supplements include this combination. Number 2, use a liposomal curcumin formulation, which encases the curcumin in a fat-soluble delivery system that dramatically improves bioavailability. Number 3, look for standardized extracts like BCM 9,5, which use natural oils from turmeric itself to enhance absorption. The practical dosing guidance for therapeutic effect is 500 to 1,000 milligrams of curcumin extract per day, standardized to 95% curcuminoids, taken with a fat-containing meal. Let me be direct. Turmeric tea and curry alone will not get you to therapeutic levels. You need a quality standardized extract. That is non-negotiable. Now here is where the science gets really exciting, and where we move from promising research to hard clinical evidence. Compound number 2 is alpha-lipoic acid, or ALA. ALA is a naturally occurring compound that your body synthesizes in small amounts. You can also find it in foods like spinach, broccoli, and red meat. But the concentrations in food are far too low to produce a therapeutic effect. To understand why ALA is so uniquely powerful for neuropathy, you need to understand one thing that sets it apart from almost every other antioxidant. ALA is both fat-soluble and water-soluble. Most antioxidants are one or the other. Vitamin C is water-soluble. It works in the fluid inside and outside cells. Vitamin E is fat-soluble. It works in cell membranes. ALA works in both environments. That means it can penetrate the blood-brain barrier. It can get inside nerve cells, into the mitochondria, where the oxidative damage is actually happening. And it does something even more remarkable. It directly regenerates other antioxidants, including vitamin C, vitamin E, and glutathione. It is sometimes called the universal antioxidant for exactly this reason. It amplifies your entire antioxidant network. Now for the clinical evidence. The ZIDNey-2 trial, published in Diabetes Care, is a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial. The gold standard of clinical research, specifically studying ALA in patients with diabetic peripheral neuropathy. In this trial, 600 milligrams of ALA, taken orally per day for 5 weeks, produced statistically significant reductions in what researchers call the total symptom score. This score measures 4 key symptoms: stabbing pain, burning pain, paresthesia, the pins and needles, sensation, and numbness. All 4 improved significantly compared to placebo. Additional supporting evidence comes from the Aladin and Nathan clinical trials, which also demonstrated meaningful improvements in neuropathic symptoms and nerve conduction measures with ALA supplementation. This is not anecdote. This is randomized controlled trial data published in peer-reviewed journals. Let me give you the exact dosage details. The dose used in clinical research is 600 milligrams per day, but here is a detail that matters enormously and that most supplement labels obscure. There are two forms of ALA, RALA, which is the biologically active form found naturally in the body, and SALA, which is a synthetic mirror image. Most supplements use a racemic mixture, a 50/50 blend of R and S forms. If you buy this racemic blend, you need roughly double the dose to achieve the equivalent therapeutic effect of pure RALA. So, when choosing a supplement, look specifically for RALA, not just ALA or alpha-lipoic acid. For best absorption, take ALA on an empty stomach about 30 minutes before a meal. Food significantly reduces its absorption, and based on the clinical trial data, you should expect to see meaningful symptom changes after 3 to 5 weeks of consistent daily use at the correct dose. Compound number 3 is B vitamins, and while they may seem less dramatic than ALA, they are absolutely critical, and for some people, especially those on a common diabetes medication, they are the most urgent intervention of all. The 3 B vitamins most relevant to nerve health are B1, B6, and B12. Let me start with B12 because it is the most critical. The myelin sheath, that protective insulation around your nerve fibers that we talked about earlier, requires vitamin B12 for its synthesis and maintenance. Without adequate B12, the myelin cannot be built or repaired, and a B12 deficiency causes a neuropathy that is almost clinically indistinguishable from diabetic neuropathy. Same symptoms, same presentation, same progression. Here is the urgent part. Metformin, the most prescribed diabetes medication in the world, depletes vitamin B12 over time. Studies suggest that up to 30% of long-term metformin users develop clinically significant B12 deficiency. If you are on metformin and you have neuropathy and you have never had your B12 levels tested, please talk to your doctor about getting that test done as soon as possible. Your neuropathy may be significantly worsened or even primarily caused by a deficiency that is completely correctable. The preferred form is methylcobalamin, not cyanocobalamin. Methylcobalamin crosses into the nervous system more effectively. Dose: 500 to 1,000 micrograms daily. Now let us talk about B1 in its fat-soluble form, benfotiamine. Standard thiamine, the regular B1 you find in most B-complex supplements, has poor bioavailability and does not penetrate nerve tissue well. Benfotiamine is a fat-soluble derivative of thiamine that reaches nerve tissue in much higher concentrations. It has been shown in clinical trials to reduce the formation of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which are toxic compounds formed when excess glucose binds to proteins and directly damages nerve fibers and their blood supply. Dose: 300 to 600 milligrams of benfotiamine per day. And B6, or pyridoxine, supports neurotransmitter synthesis and peripheral nerve function. But here is the critical caution with B6. At very high doses above 200 milligrams per day sustained over time, B6 supplementation is itself a documented cause of peripheral neuropathy. So keep your B6 at 25 to 50 milligrams per day as part of a balanced B complex. When choosing a B complex supplement, look specifically for one that contains methylcobalamin as the B12 source and benfotiamine as the B1 source. These are not the default forms in cheap supplements. You have to look for them specifically. Now let me show you why the combination of all three is more powerful than any single compound used alone. Curcumin reduces the inflammatory environment that is actively causing ongoing nerve damage. It is stopping the storm. ALA provides immediate, deep antioxidant protection inside nerve cells and supports mitochondrial energy production in neurons. It is the emergency repair team on the ground. B vitamins provide the structural raw materials for myelin synthesis and nerve signaling restoration. They are the construction materials, without which no repair is possible. Here is an analogy that makes this click. Imagine your nerves are a road full of potholes after a catastrophic storm. Curcumin is the crew stopping the storm from getting worse. ALA is the emergency repair team patching the most critical holes right now. B vitamins are the concrete and asphalt without the raw materials. Even the best repair crew cannot fix the road. You need all three, working together, consistently. Here is a practical daily protocol based on the clinical evidence. In the morning, on an empty stomach, 30 minutes before eating, RALA 600 milligrams. With breakfast, curcumin 500 milligrams standardized extract with piperine or liposomal form, taken with your meal since it needs fat for absorption. Also, with breakfast or lunch, your high-quality B complex containing methylcobalamin and benfotiamine. Nerves regenerate slowly, approximately 1 to 2 millimeters per day under ideal conditions, so set realistic expectations. Some people notice reduced pain and burning within 3 to 4 weeks, which matches the clinical trial timeline. Meaningful improvement in sensation and motor function takes longer, 3 to 6 months of consistent daily use. Consistency is everything here. Missing days resets your progress. Before you rush out and buy anything, you absolutely need to hear this next part, because for some people, these supplements require direct medical supervision. This is not a minor footnote. This is critical. ALA and blood sugar medications. ALA is a powerful insulin sensitizer. It lowers blood glucose on its own. If you are taking insulin, metformin, sulfonylureas, or any other glucose-lowering medication, combining them with ALA can cause your blood sugar to drop dangerously low. Hypoglycemia. Symptoms of hypoglycemia include shakiness, sweating, confusion, and in severe cases, loss of consciousness. This is a real risk. Monitor your blood glucose carefully when starting ALA. Work with your doctor. You may need adjustments to your medication doses. Do not start ALA on your own if you are on diabetes medications without your doctor's knowledge. Curcumin interactions. Curcumin has blood-thinning properties. If you are on warfarin, aspirin therapy, clopidogrel, or any anticoagulant medication, do not add high-dose curcumin without medical supervision. The combination can increase bleeding risk. Curcumin may also reduce iron absorption, so people with iron deficiency anemia should be cautious. And curcumin affects cytochrome P450 liver enzymes, which are involved in processing many medications, meaning it can alter blood levels of various drugs. If you are on multiple medications, a pharmacist or physician review of interactions is important. The B6 warning bears repeating one more time. Do not exceed 100 to 200 milligrams of B6 per day. High-dose B6 supplementation is itself a documented cause of peripheral neuropathy, the very thing you are trying to treat. Who should not start this protocol without explicit medical clearance? Anyone on blood thinners, anyone on diabetes medications, anyone on immunosuppressants, anyone with liver or kidney disease, and pregnant or breastfeeding women. Please share this video with your healthcare provider before starting this protocol. These are powerful, clinically studied compounds. That power means they deserve respect. Now, supplements work best when they are layered with lifestyle strategies that address the same root mechanisms. And here is something you can start today, before you even buy a single supplement. Walking. 20 to 30 minutes of walking daily has been shown in research to reduce neuropathic pain scores by improving peripheral blood flow. Nerves are fed by tiny capillaries, and those capillaries respond directly to movement. You do not need a gym. You do not need equipment. You need your shoes and 20 minutes. That is something you can do today. Blood sugar management remains the absolute foundation. Every 1% reduction in HbA1c correlates with measurable reductions in neuropathy progression. No supplement stack can outrun chronically elevated glucose. Dietary changes that support this include reducing refined carbohydrates and seed oils and increasing omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish like salmon and sardines. EPA and DHA, the omega-3s in fatty fish, support nerve membrane integrity and directly reduce neuroinflammation. Aim for 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week. Foods naturally rich in B vitamins include leafy greens, eggs, legumes, and lean meats. Building these into daily meals supports the protocol from the inside out. Sleep is where nerve repair actually happens. The deepest stages of sleep are when cellular repair and regeneration processes are most active, including in nervous tissue. If neuropathic pain is disrupting your sleep, that disruption is itself slowing your recovery. Address it directly. Consistent sleep and wake times, a cool, dark room, and if needed, discuss sleep support options with your doctor. And chronic stress. Elevated cortisol worsens both blood sugar control and systemic inflammation, the two primary drivers of neuropathy. Stress reduction is not optional for nerve health. Even 10 minutes of daily breathing exercises or walking in natural light has measurable effects on cortisol levels. Let me give you a realistic expectations timeline so you do not give up too early, because this is where most people fail. They start a protocol, they do not see dramatic results in week 1, and they stop. Weeks 1 and 2, some users notice reduced burning sensation and slightly improved sleep quality due to ALA's rapid antioxidant action. Do not expect dramatic changes yet. This is the foundation phase. Weeks 3 and 4, this is when the clinical trials showed statistically significant reductions in the total symptom score. Burning, stabbing pain, paresthesia, and numbness all showed measurable improvement at this point. Start tracking your symptoms with a simple 0 to 10 daily pain diary. Write it down. Weeks 6 through 8, improved sensation in affected areas may begin as myelin repair progresses. Some people report being able to feel textures they could not previously feel. Month 3 through 6, this is the maximum benefit window for deeper structural repair. The kind of nerve fiber density improvement that would show up on nerve conduction studies begins to become measurable here. Document your baseline before you start anything. Note exact symptom locations. Track a daily pain score and a daily sleep quality score. Bring that documented log to your next medical appointment as concrete evidence. Nerves are slow healers by nature. Patience and consistency are the two non-negotiable ingredients. Let me give you the full protocol recap. Neuropathy is driven by oxidative stress and neuroinflammation, not just high blood sugar alone. Targeting those root mechanisms requires a multi-pronged approach. Compound 1, turmeric curcumin, 500 to 1,000 milligrams of standardized extract with piperine or liposomal form, taken with a fat-containing meal. Anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective. Compound 2, alpha-lipoic acid, 600 milligrams of R form, on an empty stomach, supported by direct clinical evidence from diabetes care trials. Intracellular antioxidant and nerve repair support. Compound 3, B, vitamins methylcobalamin B, 500 to 1,000 micrograms, benfotiamine 300 to 600 milligrams, B 625 to 50 milligrams. Structural materials for myelin and nerve repair. Critical warnings. ALA lowers blood sugar, medical supervision required if you are on diabetes medications. Curcumin interacts with blood thinners. B6 in excess causes neuropathy. Timeline. 4 to 6 weeks for pain improvement, 3 to 6 months for structural repair. Always combine with blood sugar management, daily movement, and anti-inflammatory nutrition. If you or someone you love is managing neuropathy, this information could genuinely change your trajectory. But I want you to do 3 things right now. First, share this video with your doctor or with a family member who is managing diabetes. The interaction warnings in this video are exactly the kind of thing your healthcare provider needs to know you are considering. Second, drop a comment below telling me what your biggest neuropathy symptom is and how long you have been dealing with it. I read every single comment, and I will be making follow-up videos based on your specific questions. Third, if you want to go deeper on any of these compounds, subscribe to MediMint Health. I have dedicated videos on ALA bioavailability, on curcumin absorption, and on the B12 metformin connection already on this channel. You deserve evidence-based answers, not just symptom management, not just a prescription that numbs the pain while the damage continues. Real answers. I will see you in the next video. This content is for educational purposes only. Please consult your doctor before making health changes.